watched Wakanda the last year. What's your opinion? I heard you mention Wakanda earlier, but I enjoyed it. So talk to me about Wakanda again. Boys and girls, are you excited to educate my mother with everything wrong with Wakanda Forever? Are you excited? Oh, I should just send you probably some of my videos over it from in the past. But let's go through the basics. Why not? All right. I did mention a few things already. So we'll recap some of those real quick. Okay. One of my biggest issues was using Chadwick, was in the marketing, right, for the movie. Using Chadwick Boseman as his death as a selling point for your movie, and then kill him off screen in a completely and totally unheroic, nonsense, BS way, right? Making him go out like a bitch, all right? That's a big problem with me because I love the dude, the actor was great. His own family came out and said the character should be recast because it's an iconic character and that's what you do. So that was my first problem right out from the gate because we expected this to be exactly what it was. We also knew that unlike what is supposed to happen in the traditional, kind of like Black Panther way, the next person's supposed to fight for the power and yada, yada, yada. Well, instead, Siri just inherits it because of her technology. All of a sudden makes it to where a, 5'1" girl, okay, vibranium, wham, okay, dissolution of belief, whatever, okay. But this is the problem is this has been a pattern inside the Walt Disney Company. This is a pattern that we recognize that they have done before, right? That's the issue with it because what they do is they replace male characters with their strong females trying to push an agenda. Kevin Feige absolutely flat out said that the future of Marvel is female. Well, the future of Marvel is box office flop after box office flop after he said that, because clearly the audiences don't agree with him. So that's one of my biggest issues with it, because they do this stuff for the sake of agenda and for no other reason other than that. They are trying to replace Tony Stark as Iron Man with a character from the comic books, Ironheart, which his series was an absolute abysmal failure because they essentially tried to replace Tony Stark with a tiny, teenage black girl in purple armor who stole her technology from Tony Stark. So she didn't even come up with her own. She stole the tech. And that's who they try to present in this character. This movie was also so shoehorned together that it turns out they never even planned on actually having Ironheart in the movie. And she's strictly used to show up with the box and do a thing. And she all of a sudden can magically do a thing. And she can make something that no one's ever been able to make magically out of the blue. And even though we know nothing about her and have no backstory and no context whatsoever for any of this. Right, so there's a bunch of they just jump a lot of different things, right, in the movie itself. They just jump the shark. The original script, her name was only the scientist. So Ironheart was all of a sudden shoehorned into that movie for literally no reason whatsoever. Also a series you will never see come to fruition. Trust me, just like the comic books no longer run it either, that show will never happen. It is just another failed, miserable replacement, just like they do it in the comic books, trying to replace a strong white character with a diversity hire. We've seen it. This is what devastated the American comic book industry, is this exact same kind of thing. Go look at Marvel's sales, go look at Marvel's profits, go look at DC's profits on their comic books. Their stuff is in the toilet. They can't sell squat anymore. They've literally got one or two titles keeping those entire companies afloat. And actually, what's actually keeping those companies afloat is Warner Brothers Discovery, and Disney, because Disney owns Marvel and Warner Brothers Discovery owns DC. Okay? So this is something we've all seen. This is something that comic book fans have seen for a long time. They have seen this for years, this exact same kind of thing happen over and over again. So they shoehorned Ironheart in there, hoping that she'd be popular enough to launch her own Disney Plus series. Well, how did that work out? Go to an Ollie's. I don't even think you can find the Ironheart toys at Ollie's anymore. They didn't sell. None of them. And that's how you know a character's not popular, if their toys don't sell. What kept Star Wars afloat for generations? Their toy sales. That's exactly what did it for them, right? All right, so that one. We got a shoehorned extra character in there. Literally, the scenes make no sense. Go back and watch it again with a slightly stronger eye. Go back and watch it with a slightly more analytical eye based on some of the things I've said. And then let me know if you actually like it the second time around. Because some things, and I've been very much subject to this myself, there are some things that I've watched in the first time and went, hey, that was pretty good. And then I watched back the second time and I was like, wow, that was really shit. Or the longer you think about it, how much it doesn't make sense, how much the writing is just contrived, and like the lines and the chat and everybody talking back and forth and everything else. Like, it's absolutely insane. It's absolutely crazy. But either way, so I've got a major problem with Ironheart to begin with, as well as every other comic book fan out there, every other Iron Man comic book fan out there. Okay. Then you have our dear sweet boy Namor, who is a completely and totally Namor in Namor only. Okay. Namor's backstory, right? Namor is from an Irish father and an Atlantean mother, right? Namor is king of the seas. Namor is also kind of an asshole, okay? Namor has pointy ears, is pale-skinned because his dad's Scottish. Sorry, Scottish, not Irish. His dad's Scottish, and his mother lives under the sea. Where would they get melanin? I don't know. Anyway. That's besides the point, right? Not only is he Namor, so that is Namor. Namor is king of the seas. He's essentially, and he actually came before Aquaman. Aquaman's the more well-known character, but I believe Namor actually existed before Aquaman. I'm 99% sure about that. Either way, they're basically the alternative versions of each other, just with Namor being a bigger dick. So that character is completely and totally bastardized. All of the stuff from the masks to the stupid blue people that are supposed to be Atlanteans, but somehow they're a leader because he's half human, looks like a Mexican, which obviously the whole concept of that, the costumes look stupid. The CGI was abysmal on a lot of those scenes. It looked absolutely ridiculous. The CGI was just so bad on a lot of those characters. Like, it was just, oh God, it was so, just what they did to Namor, I can't help myself anymore. But yeah, they literally completely and totally bastardized his character. So it was all wham and power, the whole nine. And like, it was a just absolute abomination. And I know because so many people loved the first one that a lot of people went into the second one with a lot more nostalgic eyes. But when you really go back and look at that movie and kind of like look at it critically, and like the ending doesn't really make a whole lot of sense either. Like it's just, none of it makes any sense. It's not going to go anywhere. We're never going to see Siri as Black Panther ever again, unless she ends up being like, unless they put her in like Secret Wars or something, because that's Kevin Feige's big plan, is to try to like do a semi-soft reboot, just like the Marvel Comics tried to do back in the 90s with Secret Wars. He's going to get rid of all of these characters that aren't profitable, that don't make money, that nobody's interested in, that the toys don't sell. He's going to try to slowly quiet them away, because right now Kevin Feige's looking at like losing his best studio head ever title real quick, because everything's been bombing and disastrous dumpster fire. So that's a lot of my main problems with the Wakanda movie, because with Wakanda Forever, is because of that kind of nonsense. What they did to Chadwick Boseman's legacy and memory was just an absolute abomination. To use his death as marketing and then to make it as nothing more than something you pretty much only saw in the trailer, because it didn't last very long in the actual movie, is just like, that part irritates me to no end. So it's just like, why would you do this? Because it's such an abomination. The CG is so bad. You completely and totally destroyed and devastated the character of Namor, which is one of the oldest characters in the Marvel universe, right? Been around since the Golden Age. And you completely and totally just threw away, what are we looking at now? 60 years of his history and backstory, and you just pissed all over it. You just pissed all over it. You didn't give a shit what the fans wanted. And then, I'll really tell you, you want to know my real problem with Wakanda Forever? You really want to hear it? It always comes back to marketing. Because guess what? When I made videos, when my friends made videos, when the guys out there with million subscriber channels made videos calling out the BS about the race swapping with Namor, about the fact that they completely and totally destroyed his backstory, and the fact that they completely and totally just ignored everything about his character except for his name only. When we had issues with them changing all of that, you know what we were called? We were called racists. We were called bigots. We were called all the filthy names in the book. That you and I, Ma, wouldn't even make jokes about at family reunions. That's how the fans were treated when we were criticized, when we criticized this stuff, when we called out them destroying the backstory of a legacy character that has fans all around the world and has for generations. They called us racist. They called us bigots. When we thought it was weird that you're gonna gender swap Black Panther, who has always been a male character throughout the entire history of his character, dating back to what, the 60s, I think? Right? And now you're going to gender swap him with his little sister. You're going to, really? A character that nobody's interested in? Yeah, she's cute, she's smart, but she's not a Black Panther. Black Panther has been who the Black Panther character is. And you know what happens when we criticize that? When we show them the fact that this has been a character that everybody's loved and known for 60 odd years? Oh, we get called sexist. Well, you just hate women. That's why you don't want to go see it. You just hate women. That's what we get accused of. So you want to know my real problem with the Walt Disney Company, Marvel, and all of the rest trash of Hollywood? Is the way they treat the paying customer. It's the way they treat the honest fan with honest criticisms. They treat us like shit. They talk down to us. They'd spit on us if they could. They think we are nothing more than serfs to serve at their feet. That's why they call you a consumer now. That's why they talk about producing content, not television shows, not great stories, not epic tales. They just want you to produce, they just want to produce content so you'll consume it and sit there like the good, dumb serf that they want you to be. Because that's all these elites want. They look down on every one of us. Every nerd, every geek, every gamer out there, they think we're pathetic, fat, dwelling basement fucking nerds with pimples and neck beards that have never even seen a fucking real woman live and in person. But that's because they never knew any of us. They all lived in their ivory towers and they go to their fancy San Francisco cocktail parties and they'll get a pat on the back from their buddies as they hand them a martini. Yeah, you really showed those nerds online, those losers, those incels. Yeah, except here's the problem. There's more of us than there is of them, and there always has been. And we're winning now. Disney's stock proves that. Disney's box office numbers prove that. And guess what? The reason why it's working now, the reason why everybody's waking up to it, is because everyone's finally caught on to the agenda. Black Panther was never about respecting, Wakanda Forever was never about respecting Chadwick Boseman's legacy. It was never about respecting the character of Black Panther and what he was, what he represented, or how he was supposed to be. No, it was about pushing an agenda. It was about race swapping and gender swapping characters. And any of us that were critical of that in any way, shape, or form got called every name in the book that they claim all of us are. Yet we're the ones that champion people like Gina Carano. We're the ones that champion women and all of these kind of things. We're the ones that get mad when you take a female character and turn her into a dude. Because that's what they've done. Masters of the Universe is a great example of that. They literally turned one of the great strong female characters into a dude in that show. She looks and talks just like a big dyke lesbian. And completely and totally berates and talks down to who's supposed to be the hero of the story. It's always been about the agenda. And Wakanda Forever didn't make $1 billion. Why? Because that was still when Marvel had the trust of its fans. They had the trust of the audience. And they were willing to give that one a shot because a lot of people loved Black Panther 1. But no, it was nothing more than a tool for their agenda. And they treated their fans and the paying customers like shit when we got mad about it. So no, fuck them, fuck that movie, and this has been my rant on why the fuck I don't like Wakanda Forever. I'll be right back, and then I'll respond to my mother because she's blowing it up in the chat. I gotta go get some water though. I am completely out of water, and it is way past the hour mark. We are an hour and a half in, and we have gotten through 2 things, and I promise I will get to all of you in the chat here in just a second. I gotta go get some water. Enjoy a cat squealing. Enjoy the cat spinning. Enjoy the BRB screen. It's gonna get me copyright claimed on YouTube. I don't care. We got to come up with some new music for that one. But here. Oh, and just because we've got this on the screen, and I'm sure my mother has never seen this clip. Here you go, Ma. This is how Bob Iger's currently feeling after he decided to put the woke agenda over his fans, his customers, and his pocketbook.
Dad. And then Bob Iger is all like, nobody's going to have my stuff. No,
God, I love that clip.